Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who That Nation, man. We in this thing. Hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend representing the Sports Coma. We up in this thing. Much love to the fam, and like I've been saying for some time now, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in a live one, man. Listen, we're gonna go over this one, man. This is not going to be a long stream, man. I'm kind of going at it a little later. And I know I say that, man, but I'm going to try to stick to it tonight. So big ups to the fam. Appreciate y'all all being in the stream. OG Jerry. Good to see Brother Taylor in this thing as well. Rico, L, shout out to your fam. Appreciate you. St. Doug, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Slim is in this thing as well. Brother Trey is in this thing. Big ups to Cartel. Shout out to Honest Abe. Big ups to the fam. It's Poppy 504, Pelicans Nola. Everybody, man. Good to see y'all. Appreciate y'all for stopping by tonight. Big ups to the fam. How you doing, Pete? Shout out to you. Much love, fam. Appreciate y'all. Y'all hit the like button for me as we kind of talk about this one. Now, this had some news that came out, fam. An article pretty much talking about the Saints cornerback Paulson Adebo was listed on the top unappreciated player list. Now, we often, this offseason has been basically a look at some of the things that's pertaining to Marshawn Lattimore, like a lot of stuff around Lattimore. And we like to kind of look at everything here. So we knew, at some point, something's going to happen in the Saints cornerback room. Now, we all want the Saints to sign everybody, right? The next one to come up for a contract is Paulson Adebo. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go over his contract. We're going to put it on screen so we can go over it so we can be absolutely thoroughly clear about what's going on with Adebo, Marshawn Lattimore. Then it kind of gives you a vantage point or a view on what's going to happen with the Saints. Are they going to be able to keep this cornerback unit or room together, rather? So it's a lot of stuff popping there. We're going to span into it. Much love to the fam. Good to see you in the building. Antoinette, how you doing, Queen? Big ups to you. Young City 9, how you doing, sir? Big ups to you guys. Appreciate you for being in the stream. So without further ado, let's kind of pop and hit it. Fam, give me hit the like button if you hadn't hit it. If you're listening to on Instagram, Twitter, give me a retweet on Twitter or X, whatever they call it. Graham, shout out to you. Same thing. Twitch, Facebook, and other platforms, LinkedIn. Shout out to you guys as well. All right, so let's hop to it, man. And like I said, man, this is one right here. The article's on the screen. Paulson Adebo, Saints cornerback, shines as NFL's top unappreciated player. Now, this comes from an article that was done by the NFL.com that is also on screen. And NFL.com pretty much talked about players across all 32 teams that had the designation who the writer believed was the most unappreciated player on the team. Unappreciated. So what his commentary was about Paulson Adebo, one highlight of the Saints' forgettable 2023 campaign was the pass defense, and one player who shined individually within that unit was Adebo, a second-year pro who tied for the team lead in picks with 4. He also ranked 3rd in the NFL and passes defense with 18, and posted the 10th best passer rating, of best passer rating allowed, which is 58.5, according to NGS, minutes, 400 coverage snaps, a minimal of that. So whether or not Carr and the offense could fully cohere after an up and down 2023 is still uncertain, but Adebo is one of a handful of young standouts, along with Carl Granderson, Brian Bursey, and Alante Taylor, who can help the Saints compete or be competitive on defense while Carr and company try to take a step forward. So that's his call on it, was Paulson Adebo as an unappreciated player. Now the question is Paulson Adebo? So I'm gonna put this out to the family members. Do you guys feel that Paulson Adebo is the most unappreciated Saint player? I know I should have put that up as a poll, but how do you guys feel about it? Put it in the chat. Let me know how you feel. Do you feel that Paulson Adebo is the top or the most unappreciated player on the Saints? Now, I didn't think about in terms of appreciation. Now, in my mind, the best way to appreciate somebody is to compensate them thoroughly. Right now, we know Paulson Adebo is still pretty much playing on his rookie, well, not his rookie, but his first year contract, and that contract comes to an end this year. So he'll be a unrestricted free agent according to over the cap. So I think that is the main way you show appreciation to your players. And of course, we know that the Saints, like they said, 2 years, it's really not that. It's more than 3 years. And I'm going to prove it to you momentarily when we talk about the cap issues. That's why I said when they say certain things, you can believe, like, I'm going to say probably, like, if I had to put a percentage on how much would you accept or believe from the New Orleans Saints organization, I'd put like 60% or less. Just to be conservative, I would say like 60%. Believe like 55 to 60% of what they say, because they are going to spin narratives to protect themselves financially, like all of the stuff that we've seen in terms of how they delve out these agreements. Like, we couldn't afford Derek Carr, but we still found a way to scrummage money to pay him to hurt the team into the future. But if we was drafting well, we had Drew for those years. If we had veterans like Jameis Winston after Drew Brees, we could have had drafted somebody. And we did draft Jake Hayner, but what I'm saying, we could have went up a little higher and got somebody and saved some money there. And the Marcus May deals, and they had a few deals that didn't make a lot of sense. But in the end, we'll see what's shaking, because that will determine whether or not the Saints have the revenue or the money to be able to sign Paulson Adebo to a new contract. Or is it Kool-Aid McKinstry that's supposed to replace either him or they? And some people still believe Marshawn Lattimore is in play. So the question I asked to the Great Saint Think Tank and the Who Dat Nation is, y'all tell me in the chat, what do you believe? Do you think that Paulson Adebo is the Saints' most unappreciated player? I didn't think about that. That kind of, like unappreciated. So what is unappreciated? Well, such and such. Well, in my mind, unappreciation usually comes with compensation. Like, if you appreciate a player in the NFL, one of the greatest ways to show appreciation is compensation. Appreciation leads to compensation. That's in my mind, right? Is that the same with you guys? What do you think? We talking about money. We talk about the NFL, and guys are not doing it for free. So what do you think? Trey says he's about 40%. Yeah, I'm being fair. 55 to 60% of what they say. No, you're not supposed to take everything. That's why I said we're supposed to think about everything anybody gives you. I don't care who they are, right? Go and look it up. All right, so Young City says he is elite. Okay, you believe Paulson Adebo is elite. Now, remember, the sophomore year, it was the sophomore year. Same thing happened with Alante Taylor. And they struggled in that year. That happens with a lot of players. It struggles. And then that third year, depending on how they come, he came out third year smelling like a rose. He was very solid. And if anything means it, they remember, and I remember all of this stuff. Like when we drafted Paulson Adebo, there were Richard Sherman comparisons. Put one in the chat if you remember that. When they drafted, they forget these terms. I remember all this because we did streams on all this stuff. How can I not forget it? You know, been doing this for a while. So when they drafted Paulson Adebo they were comparing him to Richard Sherman. They were saying how his length and his arms, his intelligence, hell, he came from the same school that Richard Sherman came from, Stanford. So they were comparing Paulson Adebo to Richard Sherman. And he's really good. I don't think he's not Richard Sherman, because Richard Sherman was pretty good in his prime. But Paulson Adebo has yet to give you or show you the best of his abilities yet. And that probably will come somewhere in the, into this year and into that this is a contract year coming up with him and going into his second contract, which is, now we know you can't pay everybody, but if you were a little bit better put together, monetarily speaking, for New Orleans, we could probably end up giving Paulson Adebo a pretty decent deal there. But yeah, they were comparing this man to Richard Sherman of the 49ers, of the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. So it was really something. What's up, Tuck? Shout out to you, fam. Said Debo's a good candidate. Okay. Reginald says he's slipping. Kool-Aid. Oh yeah, look out. Okay. Paulson like that. Okay. Cartel says, I like Lattimore, but his injuries are questionable going forward. Thank you. Jim Kev said Saints tipped their hat when they drafted Kool-Aid with that 45th pick. Somebody got to go. Indeed. You took Kool-Aid up. It's not like they took a fourth or fifth string cornerback, right? They took a second round draft pick at that. And usually second round draft picks are starters, especially down here. We look at our first and our second, and even to some degree, our third round picks as potential starters, like very soon starters. So when Kool-Aid McKinstry gets drafted, somebody's not going to be here, whether it's Paulson Adebo, who's due for a contract, or it's Marshawn Lattimore, who had trade circulations or trade rumors circulating around him. Hey, something's going to go on. All right. Our Sports All Day says, All Day Sports Talk says, I don't think all cornerbacks can coexist. All right. Thank you, fam. All right. Ty said, I said, yes, he put in the work about losing his job. He's legitimately bounced back. Okay. Yeah. See, the fam, remember. Yeah, fam. See, that's the Richard Sherman comparison. Yeah, Cartel. Shout out to you, man. JT, how you doing, sir? Big ups to you. Honest Save says, if Debo performs this season, the Saints have to give him the bag. If they don't, I don't blame him if he walks. Indeed. And that's the thing, fam. If you ball out, you're supposed to get paid. If you ball out, you're supposed to get paid. But sometimes it doesn't work like that, especially if you're not responsible with your cap resources like the Saints have been. The Saints been kicking the can for years. You blame Mickey Loomis for that. He blamed it on the C-19. Yeah, that's why such and such. No, it's bad contracts. And I'm going to show y'all that in a little bit. But anyway, let's keep it going, man. But I just wanted to ask the fam that. I was like, okay, the most unappreciated player, is it Paulson Adebo? Is it really? Because you can't say it's Cam Jordan because he got his money. I would have said it was Carl Granderson until Carl Granderson got his bread. He got paid. And then you just kind of move around and you look around, you're like, man, who else is it? And this is a very good candidate for what you would call an unappreciated player, So yeah, I agree with you. I think he should get his paper, man. I'm not going to tell you no lie about that. But anyway, let's keep it moving, man. Let's hit this one in. This is the article right here for BVM Sports. They were covering it. They talked about the article that Paulson Adebo, Saints cornerback, shines as NFL top unappreciated player. Then they mentioned in him that Saints Adebo has been recognized as one of NFL's most unappreciated players, standing out in the team's pass defense was impressive stats and interceptions, pass defense, and passer ratings allowed. We covered yesterday most of that, and we talked about his ratings and all that. And it says state of play, Adebo and Lattimore could form one of the league's top duos if Lattimore returns to form and stays healthy. Rookie Kool-Aid McKinstry and Lante Taylor are also crucial pieces in the Saints' defensive plans for next season. Now, listen, there's a way all this could happen. It really is. It's a way all this can happen. But it requires the Saints to kind of make some moves here and decide on what they're going to do. If you have a really impressive secondary, you got to keep them together. Now, if you if you saying, okay, we got 4 cornerbacks and they want to keep 3 cornerbacks and they got Kool-Aid McKinstry among the top 3. And if you figuring, hey, man, we can kind of adjust Alontae Taylor to a safety look, when Tyrann Mathieu moves on or whatever happens, that could be a factor too. But in the end, the Saints have a very good problem at the cornerback position. They have a bevy of really solid cornerbacks, man. And you can never have too many of those guys, especially when injuries hit the cornerback room. Stuff started looking really shaky. And of course, they says right here, what's next? Adebo enters a contract year. The spotlight will be on his performance and contribution to the Saints defense while the team hopes to maintain competitiveness on that front. Now, the bottom line is Adebo's recognition as an unappreciated player highlights his significant impact on the Saints defense, setting high expectations for his upcoming season and the team's defensive performance overall. So we know that Paulson Adebo is going to be a good player for the Saints. He's going to only ascend. And like I said, it'll be a shame for us to find a guy like that, and then he's growing and then you not compensate him. So anyway, let's take a look at this, man. Let's kind of look at this Paulson Adebo contract according to over the cap, right? Now, Paulson was drafted in 2021. You can see his first year's base salary. Then the second year, 2022, 2023, and then the final year of his rookie agreement is this year, 2024. And it goes to show that he'll be making about 3.3 plus mil this season in his final year, according to over the cap. And then after that, he's a free agent. So the Saints will have to kind of make arrangements to kind of pay Paulson Adebo, because I anticipate him having a very solid season. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting and intriguing how the cornerback room looks. So, like I said, Adebo, 2024, 1 year remaining on his contract. Well, let's take a look at the other contracts involved and just span the room for a second. This is Marshawn Lattimore's contract. All right, let's look at it like this is Marshawn Lattimore's contract, right? And you can see right here as we kind of move down in his agreement according to over the cap, you see 2023 right there. You can see 24, excuse me, at 1.2 base salary. They did the restructure, and then you can see in 2025 that it balloons to $16 million, right? And then there's 2 years after this year. So this year, 25 and 26 is 3 years remaining on Laddie Daddy's contract. Now, like I said, it's a balloon payment. It goes from 1.2 to $16 million. And then the final year, 2026, is $16.5 million. And he'll be 30 years old at that 2026 year. So this is why a lot of people are looking at Lattimore's contract and looking at Lattimore and say, hey, man, what's going on here? And remember the restructuring the Saints did. They did that last year because of what happened with him and Dennis Allen. He didn't like the direction of the team, and they reworked his deal to make him agreeable to be traded. And then there was rumors situating around Houston and all this kind of stuff. But remember, we are currently within the window. We are in the window right now. We are a couple of days into the window. June 1st, between June 1st and the start of the season is the window in which, if there's going to be a trade for Lattimore, it'll happen in this year. Now, I have to be honest and tell you, like I always is, that Dennis Allen did say that Lattimore will be with the Saints in 2024. He said 2024. But, nothing we'll see beyond that. But that has to be addressed. That balloon payment that goes to $16 million. Now, if you look at 27 and 28 years in this agreement, those are voided years, which means there's money the Saints owe him. And according to over the cap, they're showing you that in 27, which is a 9 playoff year, 2027, they owe him $2.6 million. And then, of course, they owe him an option bonus of 2.7 plus, and then 2.7 again in 28. So the Saints have phantom years listed on these deals. And like I said, it depends on the mindset of Mickey Loomis and whether or not this is something that he would be looking to do, and decide on how he would do it, if this is something that he wants to do. But let's keep it going here. This is the stuff dealing with Laddie Daddy's contract, the balloon payment from 1.2 to $16 million, and then 16.5 after that. That's very interesting. And then, of course, you look at Alontae Taylor, who should be safe with his deal. Alontae, 2022, you can see Alontae Taylor has 2 years remaining on his deal. In 24, 1.3, and then it goes to 1.6. So he's not a problem at all when it comes down to money. He should be safe. Alontae Taylor should be all right. So with Paulson Adebo coming up, contract year, facing Paulson Adebo, right? And this going back to Adebo with a contract year facing Paulson Adebo this year, according over the cap. You have to decide on what does that look like, and then what does a Paulson Adebo contract look like? What does it look like? And then that's when you have to do your research and look at some of the people that's similar to his stat range and in his age group. How much money would that be to keep a Paulson Adebo, as opposed to a Lattimore, trading Lattimore, reworking this deal, doing phantom stuff, something like that. So let's look at it like this. Let's look at the Saints. Okay, let's bounce to the Saints. This is your New Orleans Saints outlook right now, according to Over the Cap. They're saying 5.4 plus million is what the Saints currently have right now as of today. Now, watch this. Let's span ahead. 2025. This is what you're facing. 85 plus mil in the hole, in the red. Now, remember, they said it's supposed to be a 2-year situation with the New Orleans Saints, where you'll see the Saints in the hole, right? So 24, they're 5.4 or 5.4 plus. 25, they're 85 plus mil in the hole. Now, of course, when the NFL's year's over with, and then they come back and they usually boost the cap, then maybe it'll eat up 20 something million or whatever the case may be, even 15 to 20 plus $million of that, may drop that number to like 60 million or something like that, depending on how much the NFL salary cap rises, right? To help the Saints out in that regard. And then you go to 2026 as they put all the contracts together, and you start seeing the Saints seeing some leverage there. So in 26 is 27.1 plus, but really the Saints don't see real cap viabilities unless if they don't sign a bunch of, just do a bunch of dumb stuff like they did. 2027 could be a major year. Look at that. Then it goes from 20 something odd million to look at that number there. And that's 2027. Look at that. When the last time you seen something like that for the Saints? A lot of those contracts are off the book. So you really see the Saints viable, correct, in that way. So if they play it straight, they can get back to the black by 26, but you really could see a lot of the bonus in 2027. So that could be a strategy of what the Saints does. Like, they want to keep Paulson Adebo, but the issue is, or the question is, what does a Paulson Adebo contract look like? How much does it cost to keep a Paulson Adebo? And the question is, can we keep the secondary together? How much would it cost? How much would it cost to keep Paulson Adebo? Because you have a window. You have basically Paulson Adebo's contract is due. You got 2 years left on Alontae Taylor, 4 left on Kool-Aid McKinstry, who just signed his deal. So you got 4 for McKinstry, 2 for Alontae Taylor, 1 for Paulson Adebo in 2 years. I think it's 2 years remaining, 3 years actually for Marshawn Lattimore this year in the 2 $16 million years. So 3 for Lattimore, including this year. So that's your window. The question is, do the Saints, of course they want a Paulson Adebo back, but how much does it cost? And would you trade Lattimore, maybe not this year, perhaps next year, and then sign Paulson? You see what I'm saying? It's a give and get. But at some point, you're like, man, you want to keep them all together, but I don't think that's going to happen. Somebody is going to end up going. Whether it's Lattimore or Paulson Adebo, somebody's going to end up going. Unless something happened injury-wise to the Saints secondary, and then they kind of shift some stuff like moving Alontae to safety or something like that. Something happens, you see. But it's difficult. But it's a good problem to have, to be honest with you. But how much, let me give you that little homework there. How much does it cost to sign Paulson Adebo long term? Y'all throw it in the chat. Let me know. What do you guys think? How much will it cost? How much do you think it'll cost to re up with Paulson Adebo? Y'all put it in the chat. Let me know how, because I know it ain't go. It's not going to be cheap. I know that. All right, Key, what's up, bro? Says, "I man, out in your opinion, Q. I think it's Lattimore. I think it's Marshawn Lattimore. I don't think it's this year, but like Dennis Allen said, 2024. And then again, you like I said, 55-60%. You accept what they're saying. If the Saints make a move on Lattimore this year, they can save some money with the cap going into next year. But they said they keep him. But I don't. It's not. You look at the balloon payment, and of course, Mickey Loomis could rework the deal. He's done that before, where he can rework the deal and kick the money into the future. But they said they were trying to use a strategy for what they were doing of the kicking of the can to going back into getting to good bookkeeping, which I don't know. It's been a long time since we've seen Mickey Loomis operate good bookkeeping. Usually the Saints would win, so it would justify the kicking in the can and the cooking of the books philosophy. But it's not what that only works when you're winning every year or competing every year. It doesn't work when it's not. Like what's happened over the last 3 years, the cooking the books, the kicking the can doesn't work when you lose. It just makes you look stupid. So yeah, I would have to say it's Lattimore in the end. I think Lattimore is going to be the odd man out. Malcolm says 11 million a year. Yen says about 9 million a year. Okay. Tuck says 14 mil over 3 years, about 30 guaranteed. All right. Thank you, fam. Yeah, indeed. Cartel says Q feel like our future cornerbacks are Alante, Paulson, and Kool-Aid. That's just me though. No, I think you got something there. Pelicans Nola says 4 years, $27 million for your Richard Sherman. Hey, but can Lattimore be well? That's the next step to Lattimore, isn't it? I mean, not Lattimore. I'm sorry. Paulson Adebo. Can Paulson Adebo, if Lattimore is traded, or if he's not brought back next year, and he's traded next year or whatever, and they keep Paulson Adebo, can Paulson be the new number one? Because that's the thing. Can Paulson become that new number one guy? Can he step up and become that? That's the next thing to throw out to the family members there. So, yeah, it's a different world on that side, on that Lattimore side. I tell you one thing. All right, so anyway, man, I just wanted to show y'all some game with that, man, and just kind of see, man, just spanning ahead the contracts, 85 plus mil in the red for the upcoming season, 2025, and then 26, you see 27 plus mil, and then 2027, baby, over $200 million. And free cap, I haven't seen that kind of number in the black and gold building in some time. It's been a while since we've seen that. All right, so anyway, let's keep it going, fam, and move on. And like I said, let me mention it, that Saints did sign Kool-Aid McKinstry. This happened several days ago. Friday, matter of fact, it happened when the Saints did ink second round draft pick Kool-Aid McKinstry to a 4-year deal. And Niles wrote about it then. He says General Manager Mickey Loomis announced today that the Saints have signed cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry to a 4-year contract. McKinstry is 5'11", weighing about almost 200 pounds, with the team's second round pick, 41st overall out of Alabama. Over 3 seasons with the Crimson Tide, McKinstry showcased his versatility and athleticism, amassing 92 tackles, 61 of which were solo, 2 picks, and 25 pass defense. As the Alabama's primary punt returner for 2 seasons, he added another dimension to his game with 35 punt returns for 418 yards, and he averaged an impressive almost 12 yards per return. So that's another added ability that Kool-Aid McKinstry has. The ability, he's an athlete. He has the ability not only to play the cornerback position, he's pretty solid at it, but also to give you some value in the special teams game if you need it. In his final season at Alabama, McKinstry started all 14 games, helping the Crimson Tide to an SEC championship and a berth in the college football playoff. His contributions included 32 tackles, 24 of which were solo, 7 pass defense, 14 punt returns for 86 yards. And McKinstry's outstanding performance earned him consensus first-team All-American and all SEC honors, and he was a semifinalist for the Thorpe Award, which is for the top cornerbacks. In 2022, he was recognized as second-team All-American at both cornerback and punt return, and was a first-team All-SEC defensive back, joining a talented Saints secondary featuring Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, and Alante Taylor. McKinstry is poised to make an immediate impact both on defense and special teams. So shout out to Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's in the Saints in the fantastic thing. The Saints now have all of their draft picks all signed to the team. So that's a good, very good additive right there for the black and gold as we keep this thing twisted and turning. All right, on to the next story here. The Saints linebacker duo finds themselves on the PFF top 32 linebacker rankings. This is from Saints Wire. And they did do this, and this is like one of the things that they talked about with the little list that they showed up, right? As you can see right here, that they put the linebacker groups together, and they had Fred Warner and Devontae Campbell, those two, the linebackers, fantastic linebacker cores all over the NFL. And as you can see, the Saints right there, you see Demario Davis and Willie Gay there. And that's the interesting thing. I'm like, okay, Willie Gay, where's Pete Werner at? And see, the thing was, they said, yeah, we bringing in Willie Gay for, to compete for a starting job. And people's like, well, he taking a third linebacker position. That is a starting job, right? And I was like, yeah. But bear in mind that the Saints only operate 2 linebackers at a time. They spend most of the time in that modified defense, that modified nickel defense with 2 linebackers out there. So you very rarely, I would say out of 100% of the time, the Saints get out on the field and play defense. 95 or 96% of it is the modified look. You might see them jump into a 3-4 or a 4-3, a 4-3, not so much a 3-4, one less than that. Before the 4-3, you might see them jumping at that very rarely. They might play that look, but the majority of the time it's the modified look. And they're anticipating Willie Gay, who came over from the Chiefs on a 1-year prove-it deal to be a guy that challenges Pete Werner for that other linebacker position. And then that came out that was indeed the reality that they wanted to face. So even though we know Pete Werner is he played all of last year, he was very solid. But the knock on Pete Werner, and like I said, this when he came out of college, was even though he's super intelligent, he's a football player, the issue is athleticism. And Willie Gay got him beat dead right there. And of course, Demario Davis, is losing that athleticism. You know what I'm saying? He is losing as he gets older. He's still a very solid linebacker straight ahead. But you can see Demario's athletic ability he's losing that, as he gets a little older. But Willie Gay makes up for that, which would kind of give us in the mindset of when Quan Alexander was here. A big, Willie Gay's bigger, but it'll give you that look like you'll see when you see Demario Davis running around and Willie Gay doing the stuff like covering the tight ends and blitzing and doing all the fantastic stuff. And he's a guy with the credentials, championship rings with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's coming here to make an impact to the Saints defense. So I think that's a very positive thing as the Saints keep grabbing that Kansas City Chiefs defensive players. We brought Kalen Saunders here at the defensive tackle position. We got Willie Gay here. We brought Tyrann Mathieu. So the Saints at 3 different levels, at 3 levels of the defense, have former Kansas City Chiefs players who got Super Bowl experience. And I think that's fantastic. So, I mean, I see what they're doing. So also, is this Pete Werner? Well, Willie Gay, Willie Gay's speed and his versatility. Not only that, not only just his speed, but the fact that he's been in the game a little longer and the fact that he has the credentials to go along with it. And Willie Gay is the dude that's really going to kind of help the Saints defense in that central part of it, cover up a lot of things that were happening. Get in there, blitzing, making things happen, getting in the backfield, knocking quarterback around, disrupting the plays, covering the tight ends, dropping back in coverage. It's a different look when you have a linebacker that can blitz or just recover and drop back into coverage to cover up some stuff, cover some of these tight ends. And listen, one of the biggest things that I like about the Willie Gay signing is, and a lot of people don't talk about, is the fact that we play a lot of very talented tight ends, man. We really do. We play a lot of really solid tight ends in the NFL, especially on some of these really good teams that we'll see. You'll see the Kansas City Chiefs with Kelce and the 49ers if you make it to the playoffs. But that's what you have to look at. You need a tight end, a linebacker that can cover those tight ends. And that's been something, man. That has been a big problem with the Saints for a while. So I see when he got that guy, I was like, man, yes, indeed. he covers up a lot of things and just really does. He really will help the Saints defense. So when you look at what the Saints are doing defensively, when you talk about Carl Granderson, when you talk about Chase Young getting healthy and Cam in a reserve role, and then you got those other guys like the speedsters like Peyton Turner, like him or not, he's still athletic. He'll get after you. Foskey is athletic. So those guys are still trying to get it. So there's a lot of athleticism there, but those top guys like Granderson and Chase Young, dude. And then Willie Gay at the second level, covering them tight ends that we've been having problems with. Man, look out. Saints linebacker Demario Davis and Willie Gay Jr. made the list of the NFL's 32 best linebackers, according to Pro Football Focus. They made them one of the 11 teams to place multiple players on the list. Gay's skill set already sparked some excitement this offseason, and seeing the parent included in exclusive company should only fan the flames. It is no surprise Davis found himself near the top of the list. He's been one of the best linebackers in the NFL and a perennial all-pro player for half a decade. He comes as the third best linebacker in the PFF list, even at 35 years of age. Davis continues to be a leader and the heartbeat of the linebacking core for the entire defense. Davis is joined by the Saints offseason acquisition Willie Gay, who's 31. Here's where things get interesting because he isn't guaranteed to be a starter. He'll be competing with Pete Werner to start alongside Demario Davis. It is important to not. This list shouldn't be used as an indication of Gay's position on the depth chart, but rather his talent. It's clear PFF values his athleticism and rangy skill set. Gay has aired his grievances on usage in KC before his placement within the top 32 would suggest PFF shared the sentiment. So the battle between Gay and Warner will be one of the most important and entertaining battles of training camp. He is absolutely right. No doubt about it. When you talk about having Willie Gay on the defense with the Saints, the athleticism and speed that he brings puts you in mind when the Saints had guys like Quan Alexander, when they even had guys like the linebacker they picked up from the Green Bay Packers. What was his name, man? What's his name? Put it in the chat, fam. Y'all remember who I'm talking about. He got pilfered off the practice squad by the Minnesota Vikings. I want to say they pilfered him. I mean, by the Packers. I think he came from the Vikings and got pilfered off the. Yeah. What was the guy's name, man? Was it Smith? Was it? No. I forgot his name. Y'all remind me in the chat who the guy is, man. I call him. He looked like Cam. He had the same big-eyed, buck-and-eye excitement that Cam Jordan plays with. Y'all know who I'm talking about. It's a linebacker that I think the Packers pilfered them off the practice squad from us. Man, let me see if I could pull it. See, that's going to bug me. Let me see if I could pull that up. Hold on, fam. Let me see if I could pull that up. I can't remember the man's name. I forgot his name. But he was one of the dudes that was on the Saints team, and they pilfered him off the practice squad. Hold on. Give me just a second. Let me look this up right quick. I'll tell you who his name is. You're going to say, oh, yeah, no, it's not Jalen Smith. It's not Jalen Smith. It's, hold on. Just give me a second. What was his name? Eric Wilson. Y'all remember Eric Wilson? Eric Wilson. That was his name. Eric Wilson. Y'all remember Eric Wilson? The Saints had signed Eric Wilson. And he played for the Saints. And he was cutting it up for the Saints. Saints ain't pay him very much money, but he was cutting up for the Saints. And then he was supposed to play, and instead of playing him, he won the job. Y'all remember him, Eric Wilson? He won the job that year, right? To me, because he outplayed everybody not named Demario Davis. And of course, he should have been the third linebacker. But what the Saints did was, the Vikings. He went to the Vikings. And he came from the Vikings, and the Saints signed him on a 1-year deal. He was balling in training camp and in the preseason. And then in the preseason games, he was just tearing it up. And then when Demario Davison played next to him in the preseason game, he was cutting up. Then when the regular season came, some kind of way Zach Bowen, who was hurt all preseason, made the team, and they cut Eric Wilson and then signed Eric Wilson to the practice squad. And he never played again. And then the Vikings signed him off the practice squad, and he's been with them ever since. Yes. And that's the question we asked him about dumb personnel decisions, because Eric Wilson should have been on the team. Zach Bowen should have been gone. He ain't even on the team no more. Zach Bowen should have been gone. So was Traquan Smith. That's why it was a running joke about why is Traquan Smith still? He not doing anything, that kind of stuff. You can't be paying attention to anything. You just doing that just to be adversarial against the people, because they saying, why is this guy on the team? What is his reason for still being here? What is he doing? Then it became a running joke about him being a good blocker, but he don't do nothing else. It's stupid Saints. But anyway, yeah, that was the guy. But you having Willie Gay here is a guy that's very interesting, man. Having that bump up in speed. And like I said, and they're showing that 31, I thought he was a little younger than that, but he's 31 years of age. So he's a veteran linebacker. So it's now or never for Willie Gay. So Willie Gay's saying, man, listen, I'm a veteran. I won championships before. I've been in the big dance. I'm here to take somebody's job. I'm here to make it pop. And he sits there. I think he can unseat if injuries don't happen to the Saints linebacker room. You got Pete Werner. Obviously, Pete Werner knows the system a little better than better than Willie Gay right now, because not too much has changed under Dennis Allen's system, and he's been there. But it'll be fun watching Willie Gay. That's something that's definitely a performance that I'm going to be looking out for. Those two guys, really, man, to see what pops with those guys. And of course, finally, family, let me go over this one right here. This is from On3. They had this article here by Matt Connolly, who said Dennis Allen wants Saints rookie Spencer Rattler to compete with Derek Carr. I was like, what? Somebody sent me this, and I'm like, what? Because I played this interview, and I don't believe in that. So let's just go over it. It says former Saints South Carolina star Spencer Rattler had to wait until the 5th round before his name was called in the NFL draft, but it appears as though he ended up in a good spot. The Saints eventually selected Rattler with the 150th overall pick. The plan is to give him an opportunity to compete for a starting job, according to Dennis Allen. He's not going to compete for a starting job. That's not. And I'm going to read the article and go through it. The plan is that he comes in and really basically competes. I don't know how the writer got that, but we'll let the cards kind of play as they would do. This is what Dennis Allen said on the Rich Eisen. We covered this, reacted on the Reaction Thursday stream. I covered 3 interviews on Reaction Thursday. It was a pretty full stream. Saints quarterback Derek Carr is back for the Saints, but the 33-year-old has been inconsistent in recent years. That could give Rattler a chance to win the job if he performs well during the preseason. I don't see that happening. 6 quarterbacks were selected in the first 12 picks of the draft before Rattler was the next QB off the board, taken with the 150th pick. Allen feels like the Saints got a steal. I think we're really excited about the fact we've got into the 5th round. He was still there from where we had him graded on the board. We felt like this player is probably more of a 2nd or 3rd round talent. Allen said, and the fact that he was still sitting there in the 5th round. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there were 6 quarterbacks already taken in the draft. And that's a little bit of a unique position in terms of draft. So the fact that he fell all the way to the 5th round, we were really excited about that. The Saints were thought to be in the running for a quarterback in the 1st round. They ended up with Oregon State offensive tackle Talisi Fuaga in the 1st round at 14 instead. Top 6 quarterbacks were all off the board. Allen was happy about, despite there being talk that New Orleans wanted the QB in the 1st round. Allen loved the way the draft played out. The reality is I was kind of excited to see all the quarterbacks go, because at that spot they were picking, that quarterback was not a high priority at that spot. Allen said, so when you see other quarterbacks going, that means they're pushing some other players down the board to you. That left Spencer Rattler for the Saints in the 5th round. Allen believes he has a bright future in New Orleans. He's got tremendous talent, and now he's just about getting him in here, teaching him the things that we want him to know and being able to execute things that we want him to be able to execute. And that's pretty much what it is. So like I said, right now, I think that's just, that's a bunch of poppycock. Balderdash, BS to me. 100, like I said, even though Clint Kubiak has full control of the team, the Saints quarterback is still Derek Carr. He hadn't done that much. He hadn't done that terrible of a job where you would consider benching him for somebody else. That would make the Saints look terrible. That will make the Saints' decision look bad. The Saints are not a team that will allow you to gain ground and make them look bad. Like, they're not going to trade Derek Carr or release or cut Derek Carr, even if if he's playing a certain kind of way when he was struggling during the season. They won't address. If they won't truly address it, they'll come out and they'll put the team there and say, we all struggling. They will do a job. They'll spin a weave of protection around them, to protect the quarterback. We've seen that the entire year. Even when he was supposed to be being criticized, they would criticize the wide receivers. They would criticize the offensive linemen. They would criticize everybody except for the higher ups and Derek Carr. Derek Carr, that's why a lot of the players were upset, because even when Carr was wrong about what he was doing in terms of the routes, Dennis Allen sided with the quarterback. He sided with the quarterback. So even when he shouldn't even be siding, you don't pick favorites, but when he did pick favorites, it was Derek Carr. So reason I say that is because it's still Derek Carr's team as a quarterback. He makes $150 million, and Spencer Rattler doesn't. Now, if Derek Carr gets hurt to the point where he can't play, because remember, he had broken ribs, the Saints still shot him up with painkiller, giving him multiple shots around his body so he don't feel no pain, just to roll him out there. And they had a veteran quarterback last year that can come in and do a similar job. Just didn't make any sense. But at the end of the day, we would rather shoot the man up with painkillers than to use your backup quarterback, which means, like we talked about, they didn't think very highly of the backup quarterback to do that. You didn't really have to do that. But like I said, that's also an interesting position battle to watch out for with Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, and Nate Peterman. Who makes it in that backup quarterback role? The Saints are only going to keep two of them. Who's the two that you keep? You're going to keep Haener and Spencer, or is it Nate Peterman and one of the young guys? It'll be interesting to see how they work that thing, how it all ends up. But in my opinion, in terms of the future, yeah, you definitely, Spencer Rattler is a guy that's definitely a future quarterback, no doubt about it. He's definitely that. You can't take that away. He's definitely the future of the Saints quarterback position, and probably not even a clearer future. Like I was saying about people asking me about Jake Haener, I was like, I don't know about Jake Haener, such and such, but Spencer Rattler does have that factor. He does have the it factor. He does have certain things a lot of people are excited about. People like what Jake Haener was doing, working with John Gruden and all this kind of stuff to get better. But he damn sure got to, because this kid here is going to make something shake for the Saints in the future. But not today. Just going to let you know, it ain't going to happen today, baby. Today is Derek Carr's time, and Derek Carr will be given every opportunity to succeed in the Saints building until he's not. So anyway, man, matter of fact, let me do this for y'all. Let me pull up Derek Carr's contract. Give me just a second, fam. Let me pull up Carr's contract. And give me just a second. Let me put that on screen for the fam so they can see that. Mr. Carr's situation. How long do you have Mr. Carr as your quarterback, contractually speaking? Well, still got a couple of years with Derek Carr there. I know it's a couple of years. All right, we're in 2024. And they peeled it back to 1.2 on his contract, but you can see it balloons in 2025 to $30 million. So then it balloons again in 2026 to $50 million, right? And we'll talk about balloon payments. Look at this contract here. Derek Carr's contract with the Saints. That's why sometimes people want to slap the hell out of Mickey Loomis. So next year, his contract balloons to $30 million. And then in 2026, it goes to $50 million. So the older he gets, he did that, bro. How did you do that? He has an escalating contract. Usually, most people, if they setting it up, the older the player gets, he has more of a de-escalating contract, right? But this is an escalating contract. He goes from 1.2 this year to 30 million next year to 50 million 2 years from now in 2026. So that's what I'm saying. Based on those numbers alone, they definitely want to make sure they put Carr up there and see what he can do, because it's a lot of money at stake. A lot of money at stake. Like I said, I'm showing you the contract according to Over the Cap. And then there's so much money that he has several voided years behind the last playable year in 2026 to carry that money into the future. Thank you, Mickey Lomas. That's what I'm saying when they talk about the Saints brass being so ego driven that they won't allow you to have an opportunity to criticize them about bad money deals. They'll just spin a web of either a half truth or just blatant lie and talk about how C19 was the reason why the cap finances kind of messed up the team. He'll never say it was bad contracts of kicking the can, cooking the books philosophy that helped put the Saints there. That's my job. You see, that's too, they can't do that because a part of them, they part politician. They are the people, they try to spin narratives to protect themselves. That's what they do. That's why it's up to you to not allow them to do that and tell the truth and tear it all down and keep it real. You're not going to stand up there and lie. All right. So anyway, that's what I got for y'all tonight. Let me turn around and kind of move on. I'm going to hit the chat for a few minutes. I got like 7 minutes before I get out, about an hour. So if you got a question, fam, please put your questions in the chat. I'm going to do my best to answer them. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate you. I see you. Inevitable. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Edward, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Seeing your brother Reginald is in this thing. He said Willie Gay is better than Pete at linebacker and quicker. What do you think, Hugh? I think he is better. He's better. He's maybe Willie game is his cerebral game. He might be better at him in all aspects, except the fact that how familiar is he in Dennis Allen's style of defense? It might give Pete a small fractal of I guess a benefit, or a small fractal of chance more, a little better opportunity because he knows the system better. But it depends on how fast Willie Gay picks up that system. But in terms of athleticism and experience and even resume, Willie got him beat all across the board. All Pete Werner has is the fact that he's played in the Saints system successfully. So, that's what I'm looking at. What's up, Tedra? Shout out to you. Good to see you. All right. So any questions, fam? Hemisphere says, sorry, Q, I just poked that DA. Q, let's hope that he put Gay on the practice squad. He don't put him. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't put him on. Yes, indeed, man. I remember that, like we talked about the brother, Eric Wilson. We covered this. We talked about it because traditionally, if you are a player on a team and you ball out, you do everything the coach tell you to do and you excel at it, you should make the team. And the guy that didn't shouldn't, right? But we've seen stupid, dumb players, not players, but coaching decisions to that contrary. And it's like, why are you doing? And when you do that, man, that just, what am I supposed to do? That just shatters the whole paradigm. Because if the player does everything you want him to do, how does he not make the team? You're just full of shit then. What are they supposed to believe? How are they supposed to believe you if you go out there and ball and you beat the man? Eric Wilson beat Zach Bond. He outplayed him, but the Saints kept Zach Bond on the team. Made no sense. And then finally, the last year is, we figured it out. Even that's what Sean Payton said when he drafted Zach Bond, that Zach Bond was supposed to be used in the same role the Saints did in the final goddamn year. And they didn't do it up until the last year. And what benefit did it have for the Saints? Because they didn't even sign him. See, I'm like, dude, what? So, yeah, I'm hoping that he chooses right because, man, I've seen the last couple of years of roster or final roster decisions with Dennis Allen. Some of the decisions be like, man, what is he doing? Why did he do that? And it's just him deciding these things, and it's no logic based behind it. He does stuff like that. He does do that. All right, Patrick says, why are the Saints number 26 in the SV's first power rankings? They don't have very much faith in the Saints to do anything. Big questions, man. But then again, you think about it, big questions in the offense, major questions. Not like you got something to hang your hat on. Like you have Clint Kubiak coming there, but a lot of people, even not just the Who Dat Nation, but a lot of people in the NFL are not big on Derek Carr. This is very true. I've realized that like over the last year and really coming up to recent, how many people don't like Derek Carr. And it's not something against his personality, it's against his style of play, because a lot of their criticisms are the fact that Derek Carr doesn't take responsibility for what he does. And he did take responsibility last year for what he was doing, but it didn't happen until halfway into the season when you start really seeing him start to take a responsibility for what he was doing on the field. Because I was blasting them and many others, but I'm like, man, what kind of quarterback this is? Who not to, even if you are not at fault and you making $150 million, you the quarterback and the team struggling, you're supposed to still take that. That's how you take the bows, you take the arrows, because you're the quarterback. If you don't like it, give your money back and go do something else where people are not looking at you. Go get your money back. How you want to take the money and won't take the money and run, but don't want nothing to come? Nah, shut up with that. No. If you're gonna take $150 million, you better be worth every penny of that money. Worth every penny. And if you don't perform, you're gonna hear every criticism you can get. And these people not wrong for that. They want $150 million worth of a solid QB play. That's what they want, and that's what they deserve. They're not paying you because they like you. They want you to perform. And like I said, the Saints really couldn't afford Derek Carr. They shouldn't have paid him. They should have went a different route. But Mickey Loomis does what Mickey Loomis that has no discipline, decided to go on and do that for Dennis Allen. That was Dennis Allen guy he picked. Nobody wanted Derek Carr at that price. The Saints was the only one that was willing to give him that money. So I just showed y'all the contract. Saints going to live and die with that contract until they can't. That's why I was telling you about the Spencer Rattler thing is off the table. Oh, that's off the table. Now, granted, Clint Kubiak that's his guy, in terms of future-wise, if he makes it through a successful season right here, because Dennis Allen here, if Dennis Allen doesn't get the team into playoffs, I think they fire. I think the Saints are going to fire Dennis Allen. You can't allow 4 straight years, 3 under Dennis Allen of 9 playoff years. You got to get fired. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. You can't do that. And Mickey Loomis is facing all kind of pressure anyway this upcoming season because he should have been canned how the team was performing. People don't want to hear it. It'll be he can't protect them this year, man. Slim says who would be the number 2 QB and who would be the number 2 QB. I don't know. That's a good one. It's a good. I think it be Spencer Rattler. I don't know, bro. It'll be. I would want it to be Spencer Rattler. But I think people are undervaluing Nate Peterman. Believe it or not, I think everybody looking past Nate Peterman, and Nate Peterman is a little bit better than what people think. I'm not saying he's vastly better. But he's a little bit better than a lot of people think. He could surprise some people. Like I said, I had to go and research Nate Peterman. And I seen Peterman running around out there, man. I put some highlights together. The fan put some, and I was like, man, what's this? And Peterman he's not a dumb quarterback. He just is a quarterback that just, he's not nothing exciting, but he does a few things for you. Now, whether or not the Saints will feel comfortable, remember, this is still Dennis Allen picking. Whether he feel comfortable with 2 young quarterbacks, I'm telling you guys that. Think about that. You got a first-year quarterback and a rookie quarterback, and you trying to make both of them guys the backup for a 33-year-old veteran making $150 million. It'll be one of them guys and probably Peterman, the veteran. And he's like, Q, what about this, that, and third? Peterman has to stink for him not to get the job. But the Saints ain't reach all the way down and grab Nathan Peterman and put him as a backup behind the New Orleans Saints just for him to not make the team and have two young quarterbacks as backups. Some kind of way Peterman's going to play into this quarterback situation. We're not talking about him because he's not exciting. He's not exciting. But remember, this is still a Dennis Allen-led team. Just remember that. Reginald says Carr is not Drew. He ain't worth 30. he ain't worth that at 35. Saints are tripping. Rattler not there yet. He is the future. Indeed. I agree with this. I agree with this, friend. I agree. OG says Peterman will be cut. Trust me. Okay, OG. Remember, this is Dennis Allen, man, y'all talking about here. All right, hemisphere, according to Nick Underhill, Hayner's showing off in OTAs. Rattler been looking like a rookie. Yeah, Jake Hayner's taking it serious. So, like I said, it'll be interesting if Jake Hayner is the guy, right? If he's showing up, then you most certainly, you're not going to put. If Hayner seizes the second job, then you got your three. It's based on the performance of, like, if Hayner shows up and he performs, outplays Nate Peterman for the job, then you got your three. It'll be Carr. It could, if Hayner's that guy, right? If Hayner's the dude, then if they say Hayner's the guy, then you're not going to put Spencer Rattler in the street. We know that, right? We're not going to then waive him and say, okay, we'll put him on the practice squad. They're not going to cut Spencer Rattler. They're not going to do that. So if Jake Hayner outperforms it, to me, it's not so much Spencer Rattler, because I think he makes the team because of his draft status, unless he just bombs and he stinks or something like that. But in the end, he's just a rookie quarterback. And the QB competition is between Nate Peterman and Jake Hayner. I think that's the two, if you think about it, because they won't cut Rattler. They're not going to cut Rattler. We know that. So you got your one, you got your three. Who's the two? That's between Jake Hayner and Nathan Peterman. That's where the real fight is. So that's how I see it, man. We'll see. Okay, yeah. There you go, G. I got you. Ice Slim says Laddie Daddy number 1, Adebo number 2. All right. Brian says Pierre Thomas made the team off of that. Okay. All right. What's up, Bullet Family Travel Vlog? Shout out to you. Good to see you, fam. All right. Yeah, this is the part of the game, man. Like I said, man, it all gets down to that. And this is the last question. Reginald says, who would you take, Big Q Rattler or Hayner? I mean, I would take Spencer Rattler, to be honest. No disrespect to Jake Hayner, but like I said, man, Hayner was Carmichael's pick. Remember that? Because every QB, like, you get an offensive coordinator comes in and he gets his quarterback. Like the Saints say, okay, we got Derek Carr here. He's the $150 million guy. And remember, all this stuff, every one of these quarterbacks, except for Spencer Rattler, was set up for Derek Carr. All these other guys, Carr had a hand to do with all of these other guys. He was the one, he had an influence with the Jake Hayner pick, because he was trying to manipulate the QB room, because the guy talks about liking competition and all that, but his action, that's why I say it's questionable, because he didn't behave like that. Like when they had he says, yeah, I like competition. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. You don't want competition. That's just like how with Kirk Cousins happened. When Kirk Cousins got all that money, $180 million from Atlanta, and then Atlanta turns around and pick Michael Penix with number 8 pick, and then Kirk Cousins got all agitated, got all upset. Yeah, and he got upset about it. Now, if they're about competition, why did he get upset when Falcons took Penix? Because they don't want any competition when they're making that kind of money. Why? Because when they start stinking and struggling out there, that's when the crowd start yelling for the backup, the guy behind them, and they don't like that. They don't like that pressure when they're making that kind of money, because they believe that if you pay me this amount of money, there should be no QB pressure behind me. I can focus on my job. They don't like it. Tom Brady didn't like it. That's why he forced them to get rid of Garoppolo. Y'all remember that? Because Bill Belichick pegged Garoppolo as the backup, the future of the Patriots. Tom Brady made him force him to trade him. He forced Garoppolo out of there. So, they say all this bullshit to people, but they don't believe half the stuff they're talking about because they don't believe in that. If you pay me $180 million, $150 million, don't give me no competition. I don't want nobody on my back. Don't put nobody on my back. So what Derek Carr then turns around and then he gets his money when the Saints signed him last year. Then he turns around during the draft and gets the Saints to pick Jake Haener out of the same school that he came from, out of Fresno State, to be the quarterback. And he himself, Carr, said that when he's done playing, Jake Haener will be the quarterback. He actually tried to set that up. And then the backup quarterback the Saints currently have, Nate Peterman, was his backup in Oakland. Come on, or Los Angeles, where the hell they played at with the Raiders. So what? So yes, two of the three quarterbacks were guys that Derek Carr had a hand in bringing here. You don't think for a second, how do you go from Jameis Winston to Nate Peterman? You do that because of Derek Carr. Derek Carr had a hand in them picking Jake Haener. He even said as much. And then he had a hand in going to get Nathan Peterman. People, when they signed, like, who the hell is, why would you go in? Because that's him. Peterman was Carr's backup in Raiderland. See that? The only quarterback he had nothing to do with was Spencer Rattler. And Spencer Rattler will make the team. Spencer Rattler is not going to get cut. It's not a question between Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. It's a question between Jake Haener and Nathan Peterman, because Spencer Rattler will make the team because the Saints are not going to cut their rookie quarterback. They ain't going to do it. All right. All right, what's up, B Jizzle? How you doing, fam? Good to see you, bro. He said, I'm just here for some football. Who that to you, fam? Appreciate you, bro. Jay Hunterberry says Haener was also tight with Drew. Yeah, that's true, too. But Drew ain't the quarterback no more. He don't have the same pull. Carr does. And he come from Fresno State. That's how that shit worked, bro. He basically set the room where there's no competition. There is no so you've seen articles I just showed you saying that he's challenging Carr for the position. No, he ain't. You're not going to pay Carr this kind of money I got on the screen right here. You got him at 1.2 this year, and then it balloons to 30, then $50 million. So over the next 2 years, for the next, not this year, but for 25 and 26, you owe Carr $80 million. And we ain't talking about the money that's left over in the voided period of time that the Saints will be stuck to Derek Carr over the next 3 years. A balloon payment. So at some point, and I'm going to have to look at over the cap. Give me just Sport Track. Give me just a second. Let me look at Sport Track, because they really, where over the cap is not as good at, Sport Track is good at looking at putting in the hold on, let me see if I can pull it up here. They're good at putting in the opt-outs in the contracts at a certain time. That's one thing they're really good at that over the cap isn't good at. They'll place opt-outs. They put the actual opt-outs. For instance, here goes Sport Track, another resource of mine. And hold on, let me get my cell phone out the way here. All right. Brother Don says Rattler might be as good as JT Barrett. Nah, I think he's a little better than JT Barrett, bro. All right. So anyway, this is Sport Track. And as you go down, you can see the contract right here on screen. And you can see 24 right here. They're showing it at $12.6 million. Of course, they reworked it. And then you see the balloon payment to 50 got 51 because they just rounded it off on the other site. But 51.4 and then 26 goes 61.4. But see, they show you the opt-out. So they show you the opt-out. So there's an opt-out potential out in 2026, that leaves the contract at 3 years at $100 million. So, and then the thing is that is a very real thing for the Saints to do, because Derek Carr turns 35 in 2026 and you're going to owe him $61 million. So based on what he does this year and next year, the 2026 year, prior to that year, the Saints can opt out of this agreement and just owe him 3 years at $100 million. Now they'll be hit at that dead cap of 28.6 plus. But it's just a little something to sprinkle on your mind when we talk about contracts and people. So that's what I'm saying, that he had an issue to set the room so he don't have the competition. But What ended up happening was that they switched offensive coordinator, comes in here, and the coordinator doesn't care about any of that. He wants to see Carr perform. And if Carr doesn't perform, then Carr could be in trouble because the Saints are not going to exhibit the kind of patience with Derek Carr this upcoming year because of the pressure for the Saints to win games. So Derek Carr is going to have to bring it. But I think Derek Carr will play better. I really do think that because Clint Kubiak will be on his back for him to play better. I think that they'll get the running attack going. I think things will change. They'll get him on code, have him progressing. And Clint Kubiak and Janoku is not going to be allowing Derek Carr to have bad habits because he does exhibit bad habits. Most of these quarterbacks do, but he doesn't see it for whatever reason. I don't get why he doesn't. He's been studying film a long time. I don't understand why he don't see that he stares people down a lot. He stares guys down a lot and it gets him in trouble. That's two parts of his game that I've been constantly saying since last year. This dude really don't cycle through his progressions well enough. And then he holds on to the ball too long. And then he checks it down too much. And you checking it down because you're not seeing the field properly. They're not going to let him do that. You're not going to be allowed to set up there and do that all year, Nate, all year. You're not going to be allowed to do that. So they're going to be on his back. All right. Shout out to you, Brother Gundam. How you doing, fam? Appreciate you stepping in. Jay Huntsberry says Kellen Mond was a higher rated prospect than both Hayner and Rattler. And I watched Kellen Mond play. I was not impressed at all with Kellen Mond. Not at all. Not at all. All right, Black Dollars. What's up, bro? Big ups to you. What's up, Brother Byron? I got Laddie. True, number one, true. He says cornerback Adebo 2, Rattler gonna be QB. He says Peterman trash, gonna be cut for sure. Okay. A lot of people don't like Peterman. Okay. But like I said, I'm just saying, man, I'm telling y'all that you remember what I'm saying. Gundam said I disagree with Derek Carr as the favorite son of the Saints organization. You can do no wrong with zero accountability. Yeah, hey, bro, listen. No, I'm saying, bro, that's got to change at some point. Like when the pressure's on. If Derek Carr is not keeping up with the rest of the offense, he'll stick out like a sore thumb. He will. And the Saints, they don't coming out of the gate. The Saints can't struggle. That schedule is ridiculous. The Saints schedule is, hold on, let me put the schedule on there and we're going to leave. But let me put the Saints schedule on here, fam. They can't struggle out of, listen, there's a lot of season left, but you don't want to open up the season and trail. You don't want to do that, man. You don't want to start and there's a lot of games in the season, but you don't want to open up the season and just be, and just be in a hole. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, fam. Hold on, man. I'm trying to pull up the schedule so we can look at it. Hold on just a second. Put that on there. But yeah, that's what I'm saying about Derek. The whole thing with Derek Carr is you can't come out and you gotta. I understand you a game here or there, but this is tough early on. Carolina. I think Carolina's a win. Cowboys are going to be competitive. Dallas is going to be competitive. Philly is going to be competitive. You throw Atlanta in there early, and then you got Kansas City in the 5th week, and then don't crap on Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay is going to be a tough game for you too coming out of that. Then you got an emotional game with Sean Payton on a Thursday night, a short week after the Tampa Bay game. So that's something you have to watch out for. And then you still got the Chargers. Not going to be a pushover team. That's Harbaugh coaching the team, so they're going to have some degree of difficulty to them. So, in essence, like I said, it's a very daunting schedule to open up because these are emotional games. The Dallas Cowboys game is going to be an emotional game because that's our biggest rival going west, and the Falcons is our biggest rival going east. And then you have Philly, a team that's beaten the Saints. Well, we beat them one year that Jalen Hurts didn't play. But every time Hurts is the quarterback, he hurts the Saints. And then you got the game with the Chiefs on October the 7th with the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Then you got Tampa Bay that's been playing the Saints well, an emotional game on a short week. With Coach Payton. And like I said, early on, then you get Atlanta again after Carolina, and really get you a lot of your NFC South teams out of the way. Because by the time we get to Atlanta again in the second time on November the 10th, we would have already played Carolina twice and Atlanta twice. So on the other team we would have, we'd have played Tampa Bay once, and then we have Tampa Bay at the end of the year. So we're going to have our NFC South schedule for the most part out of the way. We'll have that out of the way. So just think about that too while you're there. So we have to be able to take care of business against these teams. This is early on. This could be difficult. You don't want to get into a hole. So that's why I'm saying the pressure is on for the Saints to get this right. Now, they don't have to be perfect, but they're going to have to learn and win at the same time. That's how it goes. This is not going to be easy. All right. So, yeah. Pat says, I thought you were talking about he stares guys. No. Nah, he goes through. That's what he does. We did cover that ad nauseum, man, about Derek Carr. That's not a secret anymore about Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he does stare guys down. That's a big problem. So Andrew Janoku, it's a bad habit. Andrew Janoku and Clint Kubiak, they know that, man. If they studied Derek Carr like the film like we studied, we see the fact that the problems in this game. And you got to clean that up. You got to speed him up. Like I said, he doesn't have a clock in his head. Stands back there with the ball and then checks it down way too much. And you know, I understand you're checking it down some, but you're supposed to progress. You're supposed to go through your progression. They got somebody out there open. Somebody out there, man. Anyway, it's what it is, man. So like I said, man, we're going to see how it goes. But yeah, anyway, we're going back to it, fam. Listen, it's going to be interesting for the black and gold moving forward, man. We just got to keep an eye out on it, man. The whole Paulson Adebo, the Saints cornerback room. This is a big year for the black and gold on many levels. A big year for the Saints. Saints have to recapture the NFC South. Tampa Bay has won it 3 years in a row. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won it 3 years in a row. Can the Saints finally get it going? It all based on the Saints offense. Can they get the offense going? Can they get Derek Carr to play just a little bit more efficiently? Can they get the running attack going? You know, can we get these young offensive linemen on the same page? Can we get them to get the philosophy, absorb enough of the philosophy to be able to win on the road, win at home, to kind of take advantage of some of these teams early on, get dubs and keep it pushing? Can they do that? We don't know. Time will tell. And most surely we'll be here to watch it, man. God to say the same. But anyway, listen, fam, that's going to be the end of the show. I'd like to thank all the family members for chiming in. Big ups to my Instagram fam and Twitter fam listening to us. Big ups to you guys. I see you. Listen, fam, we're going to be back on Patreon Tuesday, fam. We'll be back to talk more black and gold. We'll be on Patreon tomorrow. If our YouTube membership family and our Patreon member champions will be there talking about it, covering it as well. Much love to y'all, man. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. Sports Coma representing. And yes, the question was of the show, is Paulson Adebo, is he our most underrated player? When we talking about pay, and that's what matters in the NFL, I would have to agree. But, you know, will the Saints pay him? We shall see, right? All right, so I'm going to get out on that, man. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night. And listen, I'm holler at y'all next one. Much love, and who that tell you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that at. Where we do that at. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that at. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out